Have you been consigned?
I should change this angle, shouldn't I? Because it looks that way. No, I'm not under the stairs. I'm in my bedroom, and the angle of the corner of my bedroom goes this way. I have been asked that question before.
Oh, right, you've done some other interviews from under the stairs. I thought you got a bit of a Harry Potter thing going on, you know. Yeah. Rozalla, how are you, my darling? You all right?
All the better for seeing you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
No, and last time we chatted, obviously, we were in lockdown, and now things have changed, and we were talking about the state of the, you know, the gigs, the bookings, the festivals, and all that. It was just gone out the window and cancelled. So how is it looking right now?
Going back to the pandemic, my husband and I looked at my diary, and before the lockdown hit and stuff like that, I'm sure I mentioned this to you. In January last year, I had about 70 gigs in my diary. And I thought, ooh, you know, at this rate, I could end up having 100 as the year, you know, went on. And lo and behold, they were just all gone, one by one, gone in a flash. So coming back, fast forward to now, and I looked at my diary, I had about 38 gigs till the end of this year. What my agents were doing and have been trying to do is try and make up for lost time. So I've been doing, depending on travel logistics, 2 to 3 dates in one day.
It's funny because, you know, as a DJ, missed it so much, and that first time that I went back behind the decks in front of an audience, I was nervous. I felt like I was new again. How did it feel for you? First time you stepped back out in front of a crowd?
It was absolutely weird. I remember the first gig I did was in Liverpool with my good friend Lee Butler, who is also a DJ. And he made me laugh, you know, when I was about to go on stage. You know, I bought this outfit specially, and the people weren't allowed to leave their tables. They had to dance around their tables. They weren't allowed to sing.
I remember you telling me that the promoter even came up and said, can you turn it down a bit?
Yeah. And so I'm like, how do I do this? You know, Everybody's Free to Feel Good is a song where, you know, I found people want to get up and dance and sing along with me. And you know, they all got a little bit of, you know, alcohol in them. So hello.
Brothers and sisters, together we'll make it through. Someday your spirit will lift you and take you there. 'Cause everybody's sing it one more time. Everybody's we all are a family that shits.
Just to be out there, well, you know, I'd take that any day. It was the start of something, and things have gotten better so far.
I bet they were singing louder than you've ever heard them as well, I bet.
Oh,
when you
honestly, you know, I mean, to see the audience and the reaction and them singing back and literally singing my songs for me, I could just stand there and look and sing, you know, but both of us, for the singer, the artist, and the fans watching, it is just like, thank you God, we got some normalcy back, and this is what life is all about.
We've got a global audience, so a lot of our listeners are still in strict lockdown regime, depending on what country they're in. England, thankfully, have axed their plans to introduce a vaccine passport, because I think they've just been the final nail in the coffin. And in Scotland, there was reports that it was an absolute mess.
I had a booking in Scotland, and the promoter was saying in about a week's time or so from now, we believe they're going to introduce the passport vaccine. I know the promoter was so nervous. He's like, honestly, Rozalla.
It's probably because they've had such a bad couple of years, you know, and they need to recoup the money. They can't afford to get acts in. They can't afford to do special promotions. So they just I think most of them have to just run along just so they don't close.
You know, the feeling I get from a lot of promoters is they're still nervous. You know, they're still nervous to push their gigs full out just in case, because a lot of promoters have gone under. They've lost everything. I want to say, Darren, that when I first started going out and doing the gigs earlier on, when, you know, Freedom Day was announced on, I think June or July the 19th, I can't remember. The first few weeks of that time, I went out and we were doing festivals because the weather was a bit nice and they were out in the open. And the festivals weren't as packed as they should have been. There were a few people. And my husband and I said, I think people are still afraid to come out.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that was earlier then, around June, July, August. As the festivals got going, you know, the last few gigs I've done, and they've suddenly gotten so packed. I think people are like, oh goodness, we just want to live our lives. To hell.
Yeah.
Just go for it and live. Look after what you have. You know, don't take this for granted. Don't take that for granted, because life is so fleeting. And as the pandemic has shown us.
Well, that's good to know that you're out there again. I mean, who have you managed to catch up with and give a big cuddle to since you've been allowed to?
Oh my goodness.
Are you a hugger? Are you a hugger?
I'm a big hugger. I am a hugger. Honestly, I am. Yeah, anyone who knows me knows Rozalla is a hugger. I've been told I give the best hugs as well. And just, you know, going out there and seeing my other friends who are singers and DJs and performers, just to see one another has been emotional. You know, doing this interview with you has been lovely. And, you know, I thank you, Darren, because we did an interview during the height of the pandemic. And that in itself gave me some kind of malacy and sort of like relaxed my heart. I mean, Darren, you know, life is so short. Life is long, they say, but it's so short, you know. And sadly, I need to give a mention to one of my good friends, Marcus Burks, who passed away from COVID. And him and his wife went under the guise of Capella. They went out as Capella.
Marcus?
Yeah, Marcus passed away of COVID.
No. How old was he?
Yeah, and he was laid to rest on September the 17th, and we went to his funeral. And so, you know, guys, whoever's out there listening, this disease is real. This disease is real. Marcus was an anti-vaxxer, and he went live on BBC Midlands whilst he was in the hospital. They interviewed him, and he said out live, I did not believe that this disease is out there. I mean, it's on record. You can watch it on YouTube. It's real. He says, to anyone that's listening and watching, I'm here in hospital fighting for my life. This disease is real. As soon as I get better, I'm going to have the vaccine. But sadly, this didn't happen.
What are you doing right now in the studio?
Well, I have a new single out now called I Want You Back.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've heard it.
We're playing it. It's on rotation, yeah.
Thank you so much. And so far we've had, you know, I think about 46 stations that have playlisted it, and about 12 BBC stations that have playlisted. I'm so grateful, so thankful. And yeah, I'm still, you know, working away at it. And I give a great deal of thanks to my plugger, Jonathan Dahl, who's been immense. Yeah, Johnny. And, you know, and yeah, I'm just doing my thing as I do as a singer, and promoting this single, and you know, with the hope of releasing the album come early 2022. So we've got one more track left to record, and this album should have been out like 2 years ago.
You were telling me how you were going to go back to some of your R&B roots and get a bit more sort of soulful on there, and, you know, step away from the dance floor for a couple of tracks. Is that still the plan?
Oh gosh, this album's got a mixture of you know, high energy, bit of 90s feel type music, and some really slow down ballads, very soulful. So yeah, there's a bit of a mix of different tracks on the album coming out. You
moved house. You got lost in the woods a couple of times when you were out.
Oh yes.
Yes. Have you found your way around yet?
You know what? I've just tended to stick to where I know I'm going, because I got such a you know, the one time I walked in the woods and I was following these pink arrows religiously, and suddenly these pink arrows disappeared. So I thought, if I walk back to where I parked my car, that's going to take me like an hour and 30 minutes. And during that time, because it started getting dark quite quickly, you don't want to get stuck in the woods when you're dark. So I called an Uber. And the Uber came and picked me up and took me back to where my car was parked. So that really frightened me.
So this weekend, you got anything this weekend? Where are you?
I have a gig this weekend, actually. I'm in Butlins. I'll be performing in Butlins in Minehead. Yeah, and I've got another one I've got another one in Butlins the following week in Bognor Regis. And, you know, I have to give a shout out to Butlins. They've been amazing to me from day one. Honestly, Butlins have been one of those that have booked me constantly, and
it's the big 90s revival thing as well, isn't it? And
honestly, it's just to perform at Butlins for me is the cherry on the icing. Honestly, people just go out there to have a good time. The stage, the sound is just phenomenal. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Maybe sometimes you have those days where you're thinking, you know, well, I don't want to do this anymore. Do you ever have those days?
In extremely tiny moments where I think, how much longer can I be doing this for? And then I get the gig offers. I get the opportunity to record an album. You know, the last time, I've recorded singles over the years, or I've done a duet with Alan Jay about 4 years ago. And I did a single called If You Say It Again. Yeah. Which we released in America about 5 years ago. That went top 5 in the American Billboard dance charts, you know, and things like that keep happening. And I look back and I think, it's not ready. It's not time.
The universe is telling you to carry on, isn't it?
Yes, something is telling me. And of course, my love for it, I still have passion and love for it. When I got on stage and I see the reaction that I get, I just think, wow, I love this. So as long as I'm feeling the way I'm feeling and I'm getting the work offers and the opportunity to do this album and, you know, future singles to promote, you'll be seeing me, Darren. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
Oh, I can see that determination.
So far, so good. I love what I do, Darren. I love singing. I love interacting with the audience. And, you know, my husband is a big fan, and it's lovely that I have support from him and from my family and from you. So
tell me, and even if you need a moment to think about it, right, a really weird, funny, strange thing that has happened to you in your experiences of being Rozalla.
The one thing that springs to mind, that always springs to mind, when Everybody's Free was so massive in the early 90s, the company got me out there to start doing club dates. And I went to this absolutely fabulous gay club, and I remember walking in the entrance, and there was this massive pot plant with these red roses. I mean, it was stunning. So that caught my eye, and I'm thinking, that is so beautiful. The next thing, I'm performing on stage, and I see this pot plant in the middle of the crowd sort of moving, literally moving towards me and pushing people out of the dance floor. And I'm singing and I'm going, that pot plant that's massive pot plant with all these roses. Then this pot plant with these roses came to the front with this beautifully dressed drag queen.
Yeah.
It was so emotional, and security ran and said, "What are you doing? That should be in the foyer." And she said, "I love Rozalla so much. It's the only thing I can give her."
So thank you so much, Rozalla, for your time.
Darren, it's been a joy. I hope we'll see each other again here.
I hope so, and in person one day, definitely. When you're, when you're keeping an eye on your dates and stuff, and if you ever keep them coming, and love you loads, and I'll see you later.
Love you too. Thank you for your support. Thank you so much, Darren.
There's no holding back. There's no